I know there was a time where you did your own interview, and I didn't find out what happened, but you said you were going to ask yourself some tough questions.
Yeah.
So what kind of a tough questions can we ask Joe Franklin?
Oh, you could ask me. My all-time favorite and worst interview out of 200,000. So my all-time favorite was probably Bing Crosby. Mm-hmm. I always thought of Bing, Stewart, as being what you would call mechanically reproduced. I thought of being on radio or television or videotape or a motion picture screen or, but when a record, when he walked toward me, flesh and blood. You know that feeling where you get that goose pimple? And I guess that was my favorite, and because he was normally very aloof. He was romantically aloof, and he was cold, but with me, he was warm and nice. And I guess the worst ones were the ones who people didn't like me, got up and walked away. I've had, maybe 11 like that, maybe. But in every case, we kissed and made up. Sometimes they'd be grouchy at that hour in the morning, or
Did they just walk off your show?
Jerry Lewis got angry at me, Rosemary Clooney, Robert Strauss, John Gavin, about 11. But in every case, there was a reason.
Well, how'd you fill in? I mean, if I offend you and you walk off my show, what do I do?
I go to an organ interlude. I
wish we had an organ in the house.
The ladies are right. No, in the men's room. I had a guest who used to get up and walk away, but only because he got tired. His name was Arthur Treacher. Remember the famous?
Sure.
And he would say, "Joe, the old man's getting grouchy now, getting tired. He just get up and walk away." That's what you call real basic, from the bones, organic TV. I'd like to think maybe I'm the last of the organic talk show hosts, because everything today is so slick. I'm just laid back.
Well, you have competition now for that kind of thing in my show. This is going to be very, very organic, live.
You are
here. It is. Whatever bloopers we make are there, and anything can happen.
You're very suave and very charming, and I think that you're going to have a big success. I know that I'll be watching. And I think it's great that we're on now live. We're at this moment live. People always wonder, is it a repeat? Is it a rerun? We are live.
It's amazing how many people pick up this channel. They're just dialing. And last time I was on, I was interviewed by Bob Warnick, and so many different people who I would never think of watched the program were just dialing and picked up something that caught their interest, me or Bob, or something that was being said.
They catch something that they enjoy and they stay with it, yeah. When I was a kid, there were about 5 TV channels. Now you got your choice of a couple of hundred, so you got to really give them what they want. In all modesty, I mean, Walter Winchell once told me, if you got something, flaunt it. So I'll flaunt the fact that in my business, Bob Stewart, you just mentioned Bob Warnick, in my business, you're not held on by longevity or by sentiment. You're held on by the ratings. If the rating dips on any certain week, I'm not there the next week. 40 years or 400 years. You're held on by a rating, by,
So you watch that rating every week.
You got to watch that, right? You live and die by the rating.
Mm-hmm. I know that you've been known as the Titan of nostalgia, and I wonder whether you have any theories as to why nostalgia is so important to people, and...
That's also a beautiful question. I've heard people analyzing it all night on the radio. Why we got through the past, we're insecure about the future. You could give it every Freudian meaning, every bit of analyzation. You know what I say, Stuart? It was just great entertainment. When you watch movies today with Clark Gable or Ingrid Bergman or Humphrey Bogart or W.C. Fields, or you play records by Al Jolson or Glenn Miller or Benny Goodman or Bob Hope or Rudy Vallee or Kate Smith. It's just great entertainment. It's like when I had Charlie Chaplin on my show. I asked him about the people who analyze his movies frame by frame. They sit there with a microscope. They write thick books. Every time he kicks the fat man behind, he's supposed to be knocking the establishment. They all these You know what he told me? He said, "Joe, when I made those movies, I had nothing in mind except to make people laugh." They read all these meanings into, and people read meanings that weren't there in the first place. So instead of analyzing why nostalgia is so popular, just because it's beautiful entertainment. You can't knock rap, you can't knock what's current, but I think there's a big forgotten audience out there, maybe 100 million people or more. Aren't people living longer nowadays? I mean, the people over 45 don't know what rap or rock and roll is all about. I mean, I'm 39 and holding, so I don't. But I think that the answer is that it's beautiful. It's soothing to hear Guy Lombardo or Eddie Cantor or Georgie Jessel or somebody like that. Harry Richmond. Joe Franklin.
How did you start into the business of collecting nostalgic things?
I got the offer from Martin Block to go on the radio. He was my boss. Remember the Make Believe Ballroom when you were a kid? And he got me my own radio show. He was kidding. He said, Joe, don't compete with me, because he was